Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaper.io, and I'm here today with Balazs Alexa, the CFO and founder of Wanted. Good evening. In your case, Balazs, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. And did I get your first name right?
It's perfect, actually. Yes, it's a common name in Hungary, actually, Balázs, but nobody else or no other country has this name. So usually people have a hard time pronouncing it, but you did a great job.
Well, thank you. And then, so to start with, can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Sure. So, well, in the past, like a decade or so, I've been working on various startups. So right now I'm working on Wanted, which is the URL is getwanted.com. We just launched mid March, right when the COVID pandemic started, actually. Yeah, we right at the get-go, we had to kind of change swift strategies so that we kind of adapt to the new environment. But it's kind of fun. So we are nimble, we are a startup, so we didn't have a hard time to do that. But I see other companies struggling quite a bit. So it's interesting to watch, like this whole thing unfold. Before this, like on Wanted is a recruitment platform. So not unlike Gaper, but what we are doing is basically we are, to my knowledge, the first SaaS type headhunting company. What's peculiar about it is that, like when someone registers, they provide us first with their salary requirement, and we will do our best to only send them offers that, meet this requirement or are higher than that. And so since we are doing it in kind of a blind way, like we don't share full profiles with companies, we also solve another problem with it, which is discrimination, like based on anything. So companies only decide based on skills and like work background, like no other information is shared. So it's like a very nice anonymous platform where nothing else matters than what you do and how good you are at it. So it's kind of a great, I think it's kind of a great platform, especially now during COVID. Like for people who are looking for opportunities, who are looking to switch jobs, to find something new. Before that, I was working. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go finish.
Yeah, I was just like before this startup with the same. A friend of mine, we started like a dating site in the early 2010s, which is called Date My School, and it's still today, I think, the largest college dating website in the US. So that's what I was working before. We started that while I was at Columbia studying with him, and that was a very different story than Wanted. It was a dating site, as I mentioned, and basically focusing on college students and graduate students and so on. I guess the common theme with Wanted is the privacy aspect, that like also there we verified everyone who joined the platform, and we were kind of really good at making the environment safe for dating for students.
Yeah. So
yep.
I was gonna say, it's safe to say that you use technology to connect people, correct?
Well, you are really good at pinpointing, the theme of these. It's true. That's what we have been doing. Like, actually, just today, I told the guys that, well, this is exactly like dating, just in HR. So it's, like we are matching people to jobs, basically. And we brought a lot to the table, from the dating world. Like we are pretty good at like doing like, matching in a very efficient way. And we are also good at like recruiting talent to our platform, like for like with low cost techniques, like similar to what we were doing in the dating world. So it was a good skill set to kind of bring to the table for recruiting also.
Yeah, and on a side note, we at Gaper joked that we're the Tinder of tech.
Exactly. It's very similar to dating, actually, I have to say. Like we are trying to make it simple for the user. Like we really simplified down, like the profiles of people, and also like how companies advertise themselves. Like we try to be really to the point where they introduce their culture and what they have to offer. Also, like they are selling themselves to the talent, and on the other way around, also the talent have like very short profiles focusing on their core skill set that they acquired in the past few years. So we are very much like Tinder, actually. I have to say.
Interesting. Cool. So, since you started right at the pandemic, you obviously went remote in mid-March. So what's been your experience with remote employment, both pre and post-COVID?
So like startups, before doing these startups, I was working for McKinsey. So that's a consulting company. It's a more traditional type of company, and it's very interesting to see the difference between, like, I had many clients like that were like large corporations, and so what my experience in the past decade or so has been that like there was this movement where they started to like this 4-hour work week type of thing, and like there was this big movement in the early 2010s or late 2000s that like you could work in like different setups, different from the typical 8-hour work and 5 days a week type of work. And so it started with like there was like a big push for this, but like in the second half of like the 2010s, it somehow died down. So it hovered around like 20%, if I'm not mistaken, like the type of jobs that are not typical or traditional. But it didn't really go beyond that. Like beyond a few times, I don't know the exact number, but I remember seeing statistics about this. So it didn't really increase a lot in the last few years. And now all of a sudden with COVID, it got a huge push. Like all of a sudden it got blown out of the ballpark, like the new types of employments. And even I think in Google, like right now, everybody's working remotely. So we had to create sort of a new tool chain, even not just at companies, but even at universities. I'm teaching at a university, and like I see how it changes the mindset of like employers, of professors, of everyone, like that we have to kind of develop tools and ways to work together in a non-traditional way. So some of us, like the startups especially, we were kind of used to this, like working, like if 37 Signals, they developed the whole like tool set of like basically they started to work remotely, and they developed their base camp and their tools to work together like in this type of like setup already. Like some startups were already working like this, but most startups also, they like everybody prefers to be in the same room when you are working in like a high intensity environment, like what is a startup. And right now most startups also started to work remotely, so it's new for everyone a little bit, even though there have been like kind of like we had some tools ready, fortunately. Fortunately COVID didn't hit in the early 2000s when nothing was ready. We only had Skype. Maybe did we have Skype back then? I don't even know. I think we do. Maybe no, not exactly that, but maybe the mid 2000s.
I think 2010.
Oh, wow. Really? Oh, wow. So then, I mean, imagine a world of like where COVID hits and like 15 years ago. Like, I think it would have been way more chaotic compared to what it is today. Like now we had like sort of like, like video conferencing, like the internet had enough bandwidth to support all these tools. And everybody has a laptop and so on. So we are kind of like lucky in this sense that that it hit now and not earlier. Even though Bill Gates, and his foundation has, like predicted something like this happening like a long time ago. It was kind of surprising to me. I always thought that it's kind of, it seems so remote, it's like a Hollywood type of scenario where something like this hits and then something happens. And then now all of a sudden it happened. Yeah, and unfortunately, we weren't completely unprepared in terms of like tools and communication. So it's smooth in that sense. what's not smooth, in my opinion, is like the kind of the social needs of people. So you can see how people get tired of like being home, like constantly, continuously, like 24/7, seeing the same people and not being able to go outside, or like just in a limited fashion, or like way less than before. And so I think the human aspect of this is the interesting one, because right now technically we seem to be ready to support this. I mean, and I guess like tools are becoming better and better, like as like, I mean, in a matter of months, like I see these video communication tools like Zoom, what we are using right now, how they have ramped up their services, improved it really quickly. So I think like a big applause to the tech community, kind of, especially these startups, like how they provide us with these tools that we can use to continue with our lives without, I mean, it's a major interruption, but imagine without these tools how it would be. So if we had only phones and faxes, so that would be kind of hard. But the human aspect of it is still there. So that's going to be more of a challenge to manage, I think, down the road. Like the needs of people for human interaction, and also the inefficiencies that come with remote work. Because I mean, let's not kid ourselves, like it's more efficient to be together, in the same room and work on something together. And it's kind of, there is like this efficiency gap, I think, there was in the beginning. You have to get used to work remotely. I mean, for us, for example, in the case of Wanted, like we are pretty efficient remotely, but I assume that it's not that obvious to get to this level of efficiency for like every company and every organization out there.
Yeah, and did you have an office in New York when COVID hit?
Yes, we actually. So we still maintain an office there, but we also rented kind of a hacker house, to make it really startup-like. Yeah. So it's like, that's kind of a different setup from most companies that we almost live together. I mean, I was living in New York, so I had my own place. So I was kind of commuting to the hacker house, but we also try to be, in the same room together, especially in the beginning during the months of the launch, because it's a very high intensity, like scenario. Like when you start a company like this, like every day there's so much work and improvement that it's kind of hard. I mean, we thought it's kind of harder to manage remotely, but now that we do it, I think we are doing pretty well. So we managed.
And do you think it's here to stay in its current form, or do you think it will morph into something else over the next few years?
What do you mean? You mean well, our startup or Wanted, or
in general, remote development, remote work?
Well, so what I think is that, first of all, I'm on the side of the optimists. I think that we are going to keep at least many of the efficiencies that come with this setup. So I don't think it's completely efficient, to always commute and have like a 9-to-5 work in many job types or for many organizations. So I think it's, this situation is kind of great in the sense that it pushes people to think about how they can manage this also in the long run, in many cases, and that is also more efficient. I mean, my background is I'm an economist by training, so I know that this, like if you take out all the commute and waste of time that goes into 9-to-5 types of works, then you are going to get a boost in the productivity of the economy. That's for sure. I'm certain about that. Now, on the other side of the equation, there are some inefficiencies that this also introduces. Like, I mean, working in your pajamas is not exactly the same, like focus than, like suiting up and going to to the workplace and sitting down and like starting to focus. So I think there are like two sides of the equation, but I think many people can adapt to this. So you can become as efficient also at home or like in remote offices as you were in the traditional workplace. But you save all the time and the other issues that go into like being in an office. Like not everybody likes to work in a big open office type of environment, or not everybody like like those small office rooms or cubicles that you had. So what I hope that we're gonna gain from this is some efficiencies, and also like in the long run, like that everybody can kind of hopefully mix and match to some degree what fits their personalities. So I'm in this sense like optimistic, and hopefully we can, even if COVID, like we manage to weather this situation, and there is a vaccine, or we kind of, even if we have the opportunity to go back to where we were before, I hope that like it will be better for those people who would prefer to work remotely or in this type of setup. So I don't know, we will see. In my opinion, it would be a great loss to not learn what we can learn, and take away all the benefits kind of the situation. I mean, even if it's like very like some it's like dark, and some people like it's a lot of people are more like on the desperate side or like pessimistic side because of the medical situation, which is really horrible and bad for many people. So hopefully that we can clear out, but the benefits in the sense of like remote work or like these efficiencies, some of it hopefully will stay with us.
Yes. So we've talked a little bit about Wanted. So are you mainly tech, or do you do all different job roles in a company, and you really concentrate more on the worker or the employer, or both?
So like what I do in this startup is, what is usually I do with Jean, is that he is usually on the technical side, like he's an engineer. He does all the programming and manages the programming team, and I do everything else. So like, I mean, there's a lot of legal stuff, financial stuff, like organization, operational stuff, marketing, growth, all that. I mean, everybody deals with marketing and growth and how we can do that. But these are mainly my areas where I work.
I mean, what I'm really asking is, your company, does your company concentrate on the tech field, or do you concentrate on all aspects of the company?
Oh, so yeah, so like right now, how we started, like this basic adage of like startups should really focus on specific markets, and what Peter Thiel always said, like just focus on something and then do an adjacent thing and an adjacent area or territory. And this is also true for how we are trying to grow. So we started, yes, since that we know that tech type of jobs, but we also have marketing, growth type of jobs, and we also started to add like business development type of jobs. So like these are mainly the three areas that we focus on right now. But hopefully down the road, we are going to, and all this in the US, and even within the US, we are focusing on some main hubs like the Northeast, like New York, the tri-state area, Boston, a bit on Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, like the bigger hubs. But we are going to expand within the US, and maybe we're going to add London also, and some European cities in the mix. And down the road, we're also going to add other types of functions, within the companies, not just marketing, business development and technical, but also, like we already started we also added like some accounting jobs and the financial jobs.
So the professional jobs, basically. So
yes,
are you looking to expand this to, everything, or is it just you want to stay with professional?
We grew as fast as we can. So we had a little seed round a few about in the beginning of the year, and we are gunning for the Series A, hopefully mid next year, beginning of next year, mid next year. So like we are trying to be really cost effective in terms of like how much we spend on acquiring users and companies, but so we grow as fast as we as fast as the money allows us, basically, and as good as we can. So yeah, so we will add these new as soon as we exhaust like these growth opportunities in these fields and these areas. We are adding the new ones.
And you have launched, you said, so you do have paying customers now?
Yes, actually, so we launched in March. We started on the talent side. We added a ton of users. We launched on Product Hunt in mid-March on the talent side of the platform. And actually now, in the coming weeks, we are going to have another Product Hunt launch for the company side, where we already onboarded. I don't want to say their names because they didn't give us permissions, but we onboarded some of the largest tech companies also, from the Silicon Valley. And we are also focusing on like getting startups and smaller companies, because that's the experience we want to see and learn, like from their feedback, how they like the platform. And based on this feedback and some adjustments, some further developments to the platform, we're gonna have a Product Hunt launch in a few weeks.
And one final question: are your developers or your technical people, are they looking for a full-time job, or do you also provide contract services for companies?
As always, so our mantra is focus, focus, focus. So we will provide contract type of jobs, but for now we just do full employment, because that's what our clients are looking for apparently. So that's what we are mainly focused. So usually when a contractor, somebody who is used to contract type of jobs, we usually just tell them to like calculate it in your head, like what would this mean in terms of salary, your hourly rate, especially since most companies are okay with remote right now. It's not a huge difference. So it's not a huge difference. So like just calculate it. What would you require per year, which would be more or less equivalent to your contract type of job. And since you can work remotely, most probably it doesn't make a difference. But companies somehow, for now, what we see is that they prefer, like at least those companies that we onboarded, they prefer full-time employment. So that's what we ask talent to indicate on the website.
Okay, well, Balazs, I want to thank you for your time today. I know it's late there. So hopefully you can get to bed at a decent hour. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And today is election day, I believe. So good luck with that.
Thank you. One way or another, I think we're all just glad it's over, to be honest with you.
I'm sure. I'm gonna follow it a little bit. I'm gonna stay up a bit later because I'm super curious, how this is gonna end. Yeah.
I don't think it'll be announced till tomorrow morning for you.
I know.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great night.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again. Bye-bye.